All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Great Garment Graphics webinar presented by Transfer Express. My name is Andy Curtis. I am the training coordinator here at Transfer Express. If you have joined us before, then welcome back. Thanks for staying. Thanks for coming back. If you're new, then welcome for the first time. We're going to talk for about 45-ish minutes. We'll have some question and answer at the end. The topic today is Work It, selling to more than schools and teams. With me today on the line is Jody Weiler from Great Garment Graphics. Hey, Jody, how you doing?
Hi, Andy. Thanks so much for welcoming us, and thanks to everybody who joined us today.
Jody's going to join me for some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, so if you have questions as we go today, do not hesitate to type your question into the chat box. Jody's going to monitor those, and we're going to do some question and answer at the end. So if I don't answer what you might be thinking as we're talking, then make sure to type it in there, and we'll get back to you. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of the webinar here, we have some poll questions. And if you've joined me before, we know we do this at the beginning just to get an idea of who we're talking to. Jody, if you run that first poll.
Yep, I just launched it. What businesses have you sold to?
Obviously pertinent to today's conversation topic. The whole idea here today is we're going to talk about selling to more than just schools and teams. I know a lot of us might not even think about it sometimes. There are other people out there. So it's nice to have an idea of who you're already selling to. Who have you already branched out to? Or maybe some of you perhaps aren't primarily focused on schools and teams anyway, so maybe this is your prime business.
So mostly over 50% sell to schools and teams. We have some that sell to shops.
Oh, gee, okay. All right, so I have my work cut out for me, it sounds like, today. We have one more poll before we get going. Jody, if you'd launch that one, please.
Yep, and what type of transfers have you tried?
Over the course of talking about all these different businesses that you can sell to today, we're going to discuss all the different transfer types. So you'll discover that there's always more than one way to solve a problem. There's always more than one way to outfit a company. Just like teams, I'm sure you have the same challenge as a team. So it's good to know what you've already used, what you've already played with, what you are comfortable with, so we have an idea of what to branch out on here.
So it looks like not many people have tried reflective transfers, but for the most part, screen printed transfers, 63% vinyl, 42% other.
Okay. Thank you for running those polls, Jody. And everyone keep in mind, like I said, if you have a question, please do not hesitate to type it into the chat box there. We'll get to it at the end, hopefully. If we do not get to your question, even during the question and answer period, do not fret. We will email you personally after the webinar with an answer to your question. So do not hesitate to ask away and communicate with us. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to move on here. Again, the topic of today's webinar is Work It, selling to more than just schools and teams. Okay, so actually, you know what? We're just going to give it a second here. For some reason, our poll question is stuck up here. So bear with us for just 1 second while we work the kinks out. Today should be an interesting webinar regardless, actually. It's kind of funny because all of our business is based on so much school, so much teamwork. We're all used to selling to sports. We're used to selling to those types of people. Sometimes we forget that there's other companies out there. We forget that there are other places to go, other avenues to check. There are customers that do order from us here at Transfer Express whose primary business is not schools and teams. So it's kind of funny sometimes to realize that there's whole markets out there that you might have completely missed because it's not your comfort zone. So hopefully today I convince you to leave your comfort zone a little bit. There we go. Okay. Had just a second to get past there. All right, so let's talk about work orders. What do I mean when I say that there are people to sell to other than teams and schools? Well, here's some of what I'm talking about. I know the word uniform, you're probably all thinking, well, uniform, baseball uniform, football uniform, soccer uniform. No. Uniform can mean more than just sports uniforms. We're talking uniforms for companies. We're talking shirts, aprons, jackets, caps for construction people, for restaurants, for other types of companies, that kind of thing. We're talking giveaways. Keep in mind, all these businesses, everybody needs giveaways of one kind or another. T-shirts are great giveaways, of course, but tote bags, grocery bags, onesies for newborns at the hospital. That was a great idea thrown out by our marketing department. There's all sorts of fun giveaways you can do for these businesses also that, again, don't have anything to do with teams and schools, that kind of thing. Then you've got company events. I know that Stahl's Transfer Express, we can't be the only company that thinks this way, but anytime there's a picnic or an open house, company events, company outings, that kind of stuff, we've always got some kind of cool shirt to go along with that. So there's definitely opportunities for you to outfit these other companies, these other businesses that don't need sports uniforms, they don't need school spirit gear, that kind of stuff. I know you're so used to hearing me talk about those things, so it's kind of funny to tell you there's more than just spirit gear, there's more than just team uniforms. So those are the bits and pieces we're going to talk about today. So let's go ahead and move on here. Let's talk about uniforms first. And again, I know it's funny because we keep thinking, I'm sure we keep thinking sports uniforms, but sports uniforms aren't the only ones out there, or school uniforms for that matter. I know school uniforms are super popular, but those are not the only types of uniforms that our world needs. There are tons of other customers to sell to. One of my favorite strategies to remind people of is restaurants. First and foremost, they're on our list. I don't know about where you guys live, but here in beautiful Mentor, Ohio, we have a section of the city that is lovingly referred to as Restaurant Row. And they call it that because there's just a whole bunch of restaurants. It's literally, I'm not sure if it's a mile or 2 miles, but it's restaurants as far as the eye can see, actually. And it's interesting because every time one of those restaurants turns around and turns over, rather, and a new restaurant appears in its place, the first thing that comes into my mind is that new restaurant needs aprons, they need polo shirts, they need T-shirts for their dishwashers, they need something for the greeters to wear, because we know how the ladies that are seeing you and greeting you wear nicer shirts, the button-down shirts, to where the waitresses wear the polos and then the aprons and such. So every time I see a new restaurant, I think somebody has to get in there and snatch up that business. Now, if it's a chain, if we're talking a chain restaurant, it might be a little bit harder to do that. But certainly the mom and pop restaurants, the smaller time restaurants, they need somebody to make their uniforms for them, and who better than somebody local? When you're driving down the streets of your town, you spot somebody new, next town over, next county over, it doesn't matter. They're going to buy from somebody local. The chains, again, might be a little bit more difficult. But then continuing that same train of thought, new construction companies, landscaping companies, there's a lot of those out here, and I know where you folks are from, it's probably the same way. There's a lot of landscaping companies out here in the Northeast Ohio area. Painters, trades, auto repair, there's a lot of auto shops around here too, and every time you see a new company starting, regardless of if we're talking restaurant or auto shop, whatever, if you see a new company starting, we've all seen those signs, coming soon, a such and such, coming soon, local this. When you see those signs, when you see those ads, those stories, that's your cue. Somebody has to swoop in there and offer these people uniforms, and why in the world should it not be you? That's the way to look at it. When pools are another good thing. Lifeguards need shirts every season. Construction, we know that from some of the suppliers like Broder Brothers, for example, you can get those great safety green shirts with the reflective striping on them. Here in Ohio, I believe there's a law stating that the reflectivity of those. So we know that they're going to be needed. We know that people have to have them. These construction companies have to have them. So again, a perfect place to get your foot in the door there. So keep in mind that when you see these new customers, when you see these new businesses, or even if it's somebody old hat, if you're sitting in a restaurant, and We joke that you've worked in this industry too long. When you're sitting in a restaurant and a waitress walks up to you and you think to yourself, oh, her shirt it's ancient and it's peeling and it's cracked and clearly she needs a new one. It's done its time. It's done. Let it go. When you're sitting in that restaurant, that's a perfect opportunity. There's a customer for you to try and approach. Not the waitress, of course, but dropping that restaurant a flyer, showing them what you can do, talking to the manager, giving them your card. Sometimes it comes down to having to assert yourself that way. Fire and police are another good one. I think everybody has that brother-in-law or cousin or uncle who's a fireman or a cop. Those are another great way to get into those different organizations. So definitely another great way to get in, another great foot in the door there. So let's go ahead and branch out a little bit. So that was uniforms. Let's talk about how to go about doing these uniforms. The problem that we have with a lot of these places is customers don't have artwork necessarily. These businesses, restaurants maybe not so much, they're not quite the offenders of this, but construction companies, landscapers, plumbers, electricians, companies like that, they don't necessarily have their own artwork. So the problem is it's not that they don't want uniforms, it's that they have no clue where to start. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and my father had this exact same problem when he started his machine shop. He wanted some kind of uniform for his employees to wear outside of the company, some neat baseball hats, some T-shirts, whatever. But the problem that he had was he had no clue where to start. He didn't know where to go. He didn't know what to do about getting those uniforms. So instead of even trying, he just said forget about it and totally set it aside. So that's what a lot of these companies are actually doing. They're just saying forget it. I don't know where to go with it, so I'm not going to worry about it. Here at Transfer Express, we give you the ability to do their uniforms without having to have their own artwork. We've got our idea book. Our idea book is a catalog of hundreds of pre-made layouts and designs. Layouts that you can choose, you can customize, change the text, change the clip art, change it all around. So when Fuentes Construction and Demolition comes to you needing uniforms, they decided they want to do it, they want to pull the trigger, they want uniforms, but they don't have a clue where to start. They don't even know what to do about their uniforms. You flip open the idea book to the business section. You show them a construction and demolition style, just like you see here, layout QBU-31 on the far left here. You tell them here's a place to start. You can change whatever you want. Change the text, change the clip art. So they opt out changing line 1 to Fuentes instead of Compton. They change that backhoe to bulldozer maybe, and change the phone number, leaving construction and demolition. You can change all of it. They could have gone further. Maybe they wanted to delete one of those lines of text or add a line of text or put another piece of clip art. All totally fine. Either way, you communicate with them, choose a layout, choose your text, your clip art, your color, your size, and your quantity. Then you call us up, give us that information, we print the transfers for you, and then boom, with your heat press, you're done. All right, so we offer you the ability to approach these companies, these small-time companies, the mom-and-pop companies, just like some of you folks listening, I'm sure. These mom-and-pop companies that they want uniforms, they want to do it, but they don't have a clue where to start with the artwork. Do it for them, okay? And if you're going to have a meeting with these people, if you know that you're going into a meeting with a restaurant or a construction company, this is your chance to impress them. Do it ahead of time. Flip through the business section. We have restaurant layouts. We have construction layouts. We have landscaping layouts. We've tried to do as much of the work for you as we can. So do your research ahead of time. If you have an appointment to speak with a manager of a restaurant, flip through that restaurant section. Know ahead of time what you can offer them. And if you're a dealer with us, if you already have your dealer ID and password, you can actually log on to transferexpress.com and use our Easy View system to see the layouts customized. You can actually customize them on the website. Do it ahead of time for them. So if you've got Mama Roberto's pizza shop coming in to talk to you about uniforms, do it ahead of time. Log on to Easy View, work up some Mama Roberto's designs, and have an example for them. Even if they don't like the designs you come up with, the fact is you've given them some options and you've shown them what you're capable of. So those customers without artwork, you have a perfect opportunity for these small-time customers that don't have artwork ready to go. You have a perfect opportunity to impress them, to swoop in there and show them, hey, don't worry about the art. I got you covered. You tell me what you want. All right, so let's get specific here. Let's move on to some specifics. Fire, police, and safety. And again, I know I made the joke earlier. I think everybody's got the brother-in-law or the uncle or the cousin that's a fireman or a policeman. I think everybody's got one of those. And if you do, then it's your obligation as a member of our industry to ask them where they're getting their shirts from and to convince them to try and give you a shot. And even that being said, approaching a new fire station or approaching a police station, giving them the opportunity to give you business, there's nothing wrong with that. We have a ton of fireman-related designs. We have a ton of police-related designs as well. Now, the thing I want to point out on this slide actually is one of our new products, and I know I gave everybody sort of a really sneaky preview of it last month. But on the top left-hand corner there, we have a photograph of a gentleman wearing Springfield Fire Department. The word fire appears to be much brighter than the rest of the t-shirt. You'll notice that's because the word fire is done in reflective. At Transfer Express here, we have just unveiled a line of stock reflective transfers. We carry certain words in certain sizes in a reflective silver, words like fire, words like safety, I believe chief, several words that come pre-stocked. So if you're interested, if you're looking for certain generic words in reflective, make sure to give us a call. But what we've done is kind of clever. We've taken that generic stock fire and reflective, we pressed it into the middle of the shirt. Then we simply take one of our layouts out of the idea book, QAL2. We do Springfield on line 1, Department on line 2, and there you have it. We press it on either side of the word fire, on the top or the bottom, and there you go. You've used the stock reflective product to create a customized shirt. Now, Springfield and Department won't be reflective, but the word fire will be, and that's the important part. So definitely an idea there. But aside from that, the whole idea here is to drum up business with the police, the fire, the safety community. Every fire station that you see, every fire station you pass, they tend to have their own logos. They have their own theme usually. Different fire stations, different numbers. They have their own mascots even. I know some of them out here in the Mentor and Painesville areas in Ohio, they have their own little themes, their own little mascots. But the point is, they have those mascots, those themes, maybe even it's just a saying or a quote that they go by. If they have those things, those personalized things, what better to put on a t-shirt for them? And t-shirts are a great default for the fire and the safety community. Another thing we find that is very successful for fire and safety is hoodies. And this, of course, is dependent upon what part of the country you're in. But here in Ohio especially, in the colder months, the cops, the policemen, and the firemen definitely need warmer attire. So the t-shirts are great for the warmer months, but then hoodies, sweatpants are another good thing, because keep in mind a lot of these safety people, a lot of these people in these professions, they stay fit. They need jogging attire, so sweatpants are perfect. They go right along with it. So just some ideas, some people to market to. One of the best strategies to use on these guys, we sell our idea book, the item we talked about on the previous slide. We have boxes of our idea books, boxes of black and white generic idea books that don't say Transfer Express on them. You can take these generic black and white idea books, put a sticker on it with your name, your company name, and you can actually sell those, or not sell, I'm sorry, you can hand out those idea books, those blank generic idea books. Slap your company name on it, your name, your phone number, hand that to a fire station, hand that to your uncle, your cousin, your brother that works at the police station. It's instant marketing. The idea book sells itself. And if you're not interested in doing the generic black and white idea books, we do sell a binder version of the idea book. It's an actual 3-ring binder, full color artwork, full color photographs for $15. But the best idea, though, is to go with that black and white idea book. We sell packs of the black and white ones, packs of 10, 25, 50, and 100. If you're interested, give us a call. We can give you quotes on the packs of idea books. But again, you take that generic idea book, put your name on it, hand it to a fireman, a policeman. They sell themselves. They really do. All right, so corporate businesses. This is another thing to keep in mind. Now, this can be a little bit harder to get into with big chain stores, but one thing that we've discovered over the course of time, the best example here is actually the very top left there where you see Donovan's Dodge. Car dealerships are one of those people, they actually do go local in a lot of cases. They will buy from local companies. Keep in mind, every car dealership that you drive by, it's just like those restaurants. Every car dealership you drive by, the salesman generally will have some kind of polo shirt or button-up shirt. The mechanics all have customized T-shirts or jumpsuits, that kind of stuff with the company logo on it. Somebody has to be providing them with that. And since those car dealerships are local, they will buy local. That is a perfect opportunity for you. That's a great way for you to jump in. And again, my idea book strategy that I just gave you, not completely necessary in this case because people like a car dealership, they already have their own artwork. All of these corporate businesses in these examples, they all have their own artwork. So you don't actually even need the idea book necessarily. This is one of those times where you jump in, you give them a card, you tell them what you're capable of doing for them, and that's enough. They provide the artwork for you. They're going to be more interested in a quote, you telling them how much you can do their product for. But a couple ideas here. So car dealerships, you see two examples there. Best Buy, again, maybe a little bit more difficult to get the chain work, but it's out there. And then cycling clubs, you see Valencia Cycling Club there. It's sort of sports related. I'll give you that we sort of have a fringe sports thing there. But corporate businesses are something to keep an eye out for. And keep in mind the two different products that we have photographed here. The left-hand side of the screen, we've showed you a way to do the corporate apparel with screen print, single color, spot color screen printing. Donovan's Dodge there is 2 colors. Best Buy is 3 colors technically. But yellow, white, and black. And then Donovan's Dodge, we've got the white and the blue. So screen print on the left side. Simple, easy to make artwork, all spot color, nothing heinous there. On the right-hand side of the screen, we see some logos that are a little bit more complicated. We see, like, for example, the Burger King logo, Quality Inn, Marco's Pizza, and then the Crush, the Orange Crush logo. If you try to imagine the screen printing those, it would be a giant pain in the butt. There'd be a lot of colors, hard to register, not fun. Instead of using our screen print product, we used our CAD print product, the digital product for full color. So regardless of what direction you want to go, and actually the car dealership logos are another great example of that. The Dodge logo you see on the left, we've done simple, one color, spot, nothing crazy. And then the logo on the other side there, obviously there's a lot more color going on. There's actually a metallic look to that wreath that goes around the outside of it, so digital was more appropriate there for certain. I see that Jody's getting inundated with requests for the pricing on the black and white idea books. Truthfully, I can't remember all the prices off the top of my head. I know our 10-pack of 10 black and white idea books is, I believe, $20, $20-something. The 25-pack of black and white idea books is $31.25. The 50-pack is somewhere around $50, I believe. And then the 100-pack is around $90. So depending on how many, what size pack you get, the price adjusts. So definitely give us a call if you're interested. We can give you a lot more detailed quote definitely. All right, so let's move on here. So left chests. This is actually a very common, transcends what type of business you're selling to. Whether we're talking corporate businesses, we're talking about restaurants, we're talking about car dealerships or automotive, mechanics, whatever. The most common theme is left chest. All of these businesses, left chest is the favorite, and if you think about it, this makes sense. If they stick with even a t-shirt that only has a left chest design, it makes sense for them because they can gang these up. It's very quick and easy to do. So keep that in mind when you're selling to these folks, that if they're doing a left chest, it's simple for you and crazy cheap. When we're screen printing, we can do, like, for example, the Ford logo here. This is just a 2-color. This is blue and white, and the shirt in the photograph here is red, so we've done blue and white ink. A gang sheet, as you can see, we've gotten, I believe it's 27 on a sheet here. And again, it's not tiny. We're not talking that this is an absolutely minuscule logo. We're talking that this is about 3.5 or 4 inches wide, but it's an oval, so it's not super tall. It's rather short, so we can get a lot on a sheet. So keep that in mind when these businesses are looking for a cheap alternative or a cheap option. Obviously, if you're going to go with the smaller, local mom-and-pop businesses, they don't have a lot of money to spend, so they're looking for that. Cost-effective method. So gang sheets for the screen print product, great way to go. And left chest is easy to press. I love in training, when we're training our new representatives here at Transfer Express, when we're talking about left chests, because everyone can figure out how to do a full front or a full back. That's easy stuff. Left chests, though, when you give a T-shirt to a new representative and a left chest transfer and say good luck, it's kind of funny. The best guideline to use is to use the far, as you're looking at it, of course, it's the right side. As you were wearing it, it would be the left side. But the far right, as you're looking at it, the far right side of the collar, you draw an imaginary line from the edge of the collar straight down, and then draw another imaginary line from armpit to armpit. And where those lines intersect, that's your guideline. Now, I cheat a little bit. I personally, when I do left chests, I use this guideline, but I don't center it perfectly where the two lines intersect. I like to go up a little bit. That's just my personal preference, especially if you have a rectangular or an oval-shaped logo. But the point is, that's a good starting space. That's a good point to start. And from there, you can adjust a little bit, move it up, move it over to the side a tiny bit, but best place to start. All right, let's talk about caps. Hats are another really popular option, and it depends on the business. Obviously, for a restaurant, you don't see a lot of caps happening in restaurants. You don't see a lot of caps happening at car dealerships necessarily, at least not actually at the business, but there are certain businesses, all the outdoor people. So we're talking landscapers, we're talking roofers, we're talking construction, all of those types of businesses. A hat, a baseball-style cap is almost necessary because these people are outside working in the elements. So a hat for those types of businesses is very important. So number one, if you haven't considered buying a hat press before, that is the perfect opportunity. It's the perfect reason. But that being said, caps are a great add-on because when you're doing your design, the paper we do here at Transfer Express is 11 1/4 by 14. So if you're doing a full-size design that's about 11 inches by 11 inches, you still have 3 inches of space at the bottom of your paper to play with, which is the perfect size to put on some cap-size transfers. In our example here for Bowen's Roofing, we went with a rectangular design. So you can see here on the picture, since we went rectangular, we were able to fit 2 adult sizes and 4 cap sizes. And that's a real thing. That's not us making it up. That's not us exaggerating for your benefit. If you go with a rectangular design like this Bowen's Roofing layout, QBU 154, it's much more cost effective. But the point is, even if you go with something that is a true square, 11 by 11, you still get a lot of space at the bottom of the paper to put a couple cap sizes. And what that does is eliminates your need to place a whole nother order for the caps. So you've got one order that has your cap size and your adult size on there at the same time. It's perfect. Okay. And again, like I mentioned, a cap press is necessary for application. No, you cannot press a cap with one of our plain flat heat presses, so you do need to buy a cap press. If you are interested, we do have specials, fantastic specials going on for cap presses, so please feel free to give us a call to discuss. But keep this in mind when you're doing uniforms for the appropriate type companies. So again, we're not talking restaurants necessarily. We're talking the outdoor people. We're talking the people working in the elements. Perfect, perfect add-on sale. Okay, so now let's talk aprons. First of all, aprons these days are so easy to find a good apron. There are so many different wholesalers out there that offer aprons, coated aprons, non-coated aprons, all sorts of different materials and stuff, the sizes, the styles. It's almost funny how many different types of aprons there are available these days. But the point is, they're fantastic for the food industry, obviously. Don't even think waiters and waitresses necessarily, because I know that some restaurants don't go that direction. But the staff in the back of the house, if you will, the staff in the back of the restaurants, they can use the aprons. They use the aprons. I have my little sister actually works at local Boston market here in the Mentor area, and it always astounds me how many aprons that she and the other girls that work in the back, how many they go through. They need a clean apron for every day of the week, and we all know how kids don't wash their uniforms every day necessarily. So what these people do is they accumulate a whole bunch of these aprons. And keep in mind that these restaurants, they're buying these every time they need more aprons. They're purchasing more from you. And this is where the transfer product is so much more superior, because if you do have one of these restaurants, if you do have a pizzeria, let's say, somebody working with tomato sauce, you Italians out there know how the pizza sauce, I don't know if you're like me, but it ends up everywhere when you're cooking it, right? So if a pizzeria, let's say, you stock that transfer for them. You've made them their aprons. Maybe they ordered 25. But you order 40 or 50 the first time, because they're going to come back and need more, and you have them stocked and ready to go. You're not committing. You're not printing all of those aprons and waiting for them to buy more, and you have to box them up and have a box of finished aprons in the back of your store. Have the transfers. Just set the transfers aside. As long as they're in a nice climate-controlled environment, they last for a long time. I have transfers under my desk right now in the office here that are over 10 years old. I can pull out and press. I guarantee it. So hold those transfers, nice climate-controlled atmosphere, and when that pizzeria comes back in and they need more aprons because they hired some new kids, and of course you can't give them just one apron, you got to give them 2 or 3, you've got the transfers ready to go. You didn't commit your stock or anything, so it's not like you purchased aprons and had to take a loss and are waiting for them to come purchase more from you. So just, again, a great way to go about doing this. And then selling to these companies is easier than you think. Again, I don't know if your city's like ours, but new restaurants are constantly all over the place. Sometimes you got to look around a little bit, but take a drive sometime. Find the local restaurants in your area. Give them an idea book. Show them what you can do. It's easy to get this business. Very easy to get this business. You just got to go out and ask for it. All right, so let's talk about giveaways and promotional items for just a second here. The giveaways are sort of a conundrum. It's a weird little paradox, because the businesses are obviously, hence the term giveaway, the businesses are giving these things away. So it's not like they're looking to spend a whole bunch of money on them, right? But what's great is that if you get the business for a giveaway like this, for a promotional thing for these companies, that locks you in. So next time they need to get uniform shirts or need to do some kind of whatever, it's going to lead them back to you. It's almost like the same idea of doing the spirit wear for a school, and then the school comes back to you to do the sports as well. It's the same logic you can apply to these types of giveaways with businesses. And of course, we know there's a whole boatload of different giveaways you can go for these days too. Bags are obviously the best. Our transfers do apply to any type of bag you can find. The lady in the top left corner that's got the nifty little wine cooler there, she's got a CAD print on her shirt as well as her wine cooler bag there. But then you've got the bag that's in the top middle there, the neat-looking canvas bag with the purple transfer on it, Crystal Lake. The purple transfer there is screen print. So depending on what type of bag you've got, we have a transfer for any occasion. Lots of colors digital, not a lot of colors screen print. Nylon, we go digital. Cotton poly, we go screen print. So we've got a lot of options for you. And a lot of these interesting little bits and pieces, keep in mind, they can be purchased very easily. Broder Brothers is a great place to start with these types of things. They have a lot of great promotional stuff like bags. Towels are another good thing you see in the bottom middle there. And I know probably some of you are thinking, yeah, you know, like rally towels for sports, right? Not quite. Towels are a great giveaway even if they're not rally towels. Beach towels, bath towels, that kind of thing are easily purchased from Broder Brothers too. So definitely a great option to go with. So keep in mind promotional items are another way to go. And keep in mind too, if you look at all these promotional items, there should be a little theme you see here, except for the girl on the top right, except for her, the MSU. The other 3 promotional giveaways there, notice how they're wide, they're rectangular, they're wide, but they're short. Okay, the wine girl, hers is wide and short. Camp Crystal Lake there is wide and short. Prescott Beach is wide and short. It's done purposely because that rectangular shape allows you to gang more than one on a sheet. And of course, ganging more than one on a sheet means that you can save more cash because you're not buying as many pieces, etc., etc. So just something to keep in mind. Size is key. All right. Polypropylene grocery bags. Polypropylene is so funny. This came out of nowhere a couple years ago. I remember seeing my first polypropylene bag here at Transfer Express. I was not sure what it was completely. I put it into a heat press and pressed it at 365 degrees because I was going to put goof proof on it, and boom, melted the polypropylene to the heat press. On the plus side, I learned very quickly how to clean the heat press. This is many years ago. But polypropylene grocery bags these days are all over the place. They are easy to get your hands on in terms of a wholesaler, and they are super popular because they are cheap. And everybody needs a polypropylene bag. My mother is a great example of this. She has a million of these things from the library and from grocery stores and from openings of businesses. It's incredible how many of these she has, and she'll give you logic for why she needs them and what she uses them for. And I know my mom is not the only one out there that does that. So polypropylene bags are a great option to present to these companies as well. The catch with the polypropylene, it melts at 300 degrees. Now, I know that it's not written in stone. There are polypropylene bags that can survive 305, 310-ish, but as a rule of thumb, the polypropylene does melt around 300-ish degrees. So it's a great option, but keep that in mind. Here at Transfer Express, our best option for you for the polypropylene is our ElastiPrint. Now, I know what you're thinking. ElastiPrint is made for stretchy stuff. Does polypropylene stretch? No, it doesn't. The reason we use ElastiPrints is because ElastiPrints presses on at only 275 degrees. So it makes it the perfect option for the polypropylene. And again, every business uses these. You can find them everywhere you go. It's a great giveaway. It's a great takeaway item. And even if it's not a giveaway, you can sell them for very cheap because they are super cheap to purchase. And one of the interesting things about them is it's a very green product too. Polypropylene is very green. It's made out of recycled goods in a lot of cases. So it's a fantastic, fantastic option to offer people. It's appealing to a lot of audiences. So see that. All right, so if we're going to talk about giveaways, if we're going to talk about polypropylene bags, we have to talk about canned koozies. It's hilarious because I think this trend came out of nowhere, but suddenly canned koozies are just, they're every place. You find them all over, and I think one of my favorite themes is when you see the people using them at weddings. It's a hilarious wedding party favorite type thing. But anyway, these canned koozies are another fantastic option to offer these businesses. They can use these canned koozies as another giveaway type item. They can use them as a cheap type retail situation at the register, whether we're talking about an automotive shop, we're talking about a restaurant, a tavern specifically is another great option. So koozies are super cheap. They can be purchased at a lot of different places. And the best news is that all of our different types of transfers can be applied to these koozies. There's a couple different types of koozies out there. Now keep in mind, the type that you need to heat press on, those have to be the koozies that do fold flat. There are neoprene koozies out there that are structured. They are locked into that cylindrical shape based on the way they're made. Those you're not going to be able to heat press on. If they can't push flat and stay flat, then you're not going to be able to press on them. Right? Again, these types of flat koozies can be found at Broder Brothers and Koozies.com, even, as silly as that sounds, K-O-O-Z-I-E-S. There's a lot of different places you can go for these. And you can save yourself time and money. You see the picture on the far right-hand side there. That's actually a picture taken by one of our ladies in marketing. This was a project that one of our representatives was working on, as a matter of fact. So this was something that we were actually just happened to notice one of our employees doing. She had bought a whole bunch of koozies, and she was literally pressing 9 of them at a time, because why not? 9 of them fit on the heat press. Put your 9 koozies down, put your transfers down, press them, and just peel, 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 peel. So definitely fast and easily decorated item for you to be able to sell to different corporate businesses. All right, company events, we discussed this at the beginning. Company events are another way to make some cash. Keep in mind, all these companies out there, this is where you can target people like offices, different, whether we're talking banks, we could be talking about law firms, we could be talking about salons, any kind of office-based company, they have company events. outings, picnics, open houses, even company teams. This was another great one. My father's company eventually started sponsoring a bowling team. Baseball teams as well. See, and now we're back into everyone's comfort zone. But the whole idea is these companies, these businesses that have nothing to do with sports in school, they have events. And somebody needs to provide them shirts or towels for their golf event or their bowling event. They need to do tablecloths, and you can do screen printed transfers or digital transfers on a tablecloth. There's all sorts of ways you can go with these company events. So another perfect way to make some cash and market to these people. Also, if you have a company that goes to trade shows, if you have a company that regularly presents itself at different trade shows, those people are obviously going to need their logo on a very presentable, nice button-up shirt. So there's another item to offer them. We know we can get great, nice button-up shirts from Broder Brothers again. And depending on if we're going cotton, polyester, whatever, we can always do our digital transfers, screen printed transfers. A popular question, and I'm sure somebody's going to ask it if they haven't already, so I'm just going to throw it out there. The towel that you see in the picture here, the towel is a terry cloth towel, and the goof-proof transfer was the one used on the terry cloth. Yes, our screen print does work, or digital. Both of them work just fine on the terry cloth towels. It comes down to a matter of what your preference is. Bear in mind that if you do polo shirts, if you talk PK polo shirts, PK polo shirts, obviously they have that deep weave, that very coarse texture to them. We have to be careful when we do screen printed transfers on those PK polo shirts because the ink, the liquid screen print, it wants to soak into all the nooks and crannies of the PK. It can give it sort of a weird look, so sometimes the digital transfers are a better direction to go there. So just some things to keep in mind when we're talking about these company events. But again, something to bear in mind. All these companies out there, every office you see, all these different companies out there, they need shirts, they need towels, they need tablecloths, they need all this stuff for their company events. And of course, non-apparel. Let's get beyond the apparel. Let's look beyond our heat press for just a second. These companies also need that same logo that you just did for the construction company, Avalon Construction, let's say. They came to you and they needed the reflective tape shirts for their construction guys. So they bought the shirts from you. They're happy enough with these shirts that they also need stickers for the helmets. They need stickers for the trucks, bumper stickers. They need a banner to put up at the site because, hey, that's fantastic advertising for them to put up a banner at the construction site saying Apple Construction, residential, commercial remodeling. So how do we do all that? We sell non-apparel products here at Transfer Express. We sell the bumper stickers, the window clings, the helmet stickers, the banners, the wall graphics, etc. You can use the same artwork that you used from the idea book to make their uniform. You can use that same artwork to make all the other bits and pieces for them. So you can be the one-stop supplier for this construction company. Or who knows, maybe your pizzeria, maybe Mama Roberto's wants to do bumper stickers. What better giveaway, if we're going back to that giveaway and promotional thing, what better giveaway than a bumper sticker? These days you see them all over the place. Kids put them on their lockers, on their laptops and stuff. Another fantastic giveaway. So just another bit and piece to keep in mind. And window clings too, actually. We see a lot more window clings out there these days than we used to, I think. Okay, so we're coming to a conclusion here. I'm sure there are questions out there. So Jody, if you're still with me, we have a couple minutes to take some questions, I think.
I am with you, Andy. We have an active attendee, people in the audience with a lot of questions. And I have been, typing back and forth with a few of our viewers. But Kimberly wanted to, I was wondering if you could explain the difference between screen printed transfers and inkjet printed transfers.
Oh gosh, okay, yeah, definitely a good question. And you know what, it's funny because I know a lot of small-time businesses, they do go with that inkjet option sometimes. Here's the way to look at it. The inkjet transfers are basically a sheet of paper that you put into your printer. That sheet of paper is coated with some kind of adhesive, some kind of heat-activated adhesive. You putting it through your printer and printing a design onto it is dyeing the adhesive, those colors from your printer. Now, it's a method that is sort of, you can look at it as like the quick and dirty option. The screen printed transfers are going to be a little bit higher quality in general. Screen printing is actual plastisol ink. It's a great permanent option. Not that the inkjet printers, the inkjet paper is not a permanent option necessarily, but it's sort of two different products, apples and oranges. So the screen print product is a little bit more expensive. It takes a little bit longer, obviously, since you're not doing it right there at home like the inkjet paper. So it's two different strategies for two different ways to go.
Great. And then we did have a lot of questions. I know you did go through the idea book a little bit, but if you could maybe, what is the purpose of the idea book? And do you offer any books that don't have Transfer Express's logo even on them, so businesses can market these logos as their own?
Yeah, certainly. We'll talk about that again real fast. Yeah, the idea book is our catalog of pre-made designs. It's our gift to you, basically. It's your way of getting all this artwork, having all this artwork, and not having to have a graphic designer to do it for you. So all of our idea book is full of these pre-made designs that you can customize. Change all the text, change all the clip arts, change everything about them. We have two different options for idea books. We have our $15 full-color binder idea book. It's full color. It is all sorts of great pictures and great illustrations, all in bright, vibrant color. Think of it as your counter catalog. That's $15. And then we've got the black and white idea book. The black and white idea book is glue bound. It does not have the name Transfer Express on it anywhere. It does not say anything about us. The glue bound black and white idea book, that is your giveaway to your customers. Take a sticker with your company name and your phone number, put it on the outside of that black and white idea book, and you hand those things out to different churches and restaurants, all sorts of businesses. Instant marketing.
And since we had so much interest, I was wondering if maybe we could can you go to the website, Andy, and show everybody where they can order their black and white idea book?
Well, you know what? I can go out to the website here. Where's Internet Explorer? There we go. So let's head out to transferexpress.com here. All right, so what I'll show you actually is I'll show you your idea book online. I'm going to show you a little secret here that a lot of people tend to forget about. So here I am at transferexpress.com, but there's actually a little secret website, another website that's sort of beyond transferexpress.com. I'm going to come up here to the address area, and I'm going to type in www.easy, easy, P-R-I-N-T-S, easyprints.com. Easyprints.com is the idea book online. And if you go to this website, if you send your restaurant, your corporate customer, send them to this website, they don't see our name, they don't see who we are. It does not say anything about us. So from here, I'm going to click on the word idea book. Give it just a second to load here. Oh, all right. Maybe view layout. There we go. Sorry about that. So we click on view layouts. Now here's all of our layout sections. We can come down to work. We see police, fire, EMS, automotive, construction trades, landscaping, restaurant. There we go. And here are our restaurant designs. So again, the whole point is all of these designs are 100% customizable. Change around the text, change around the clip arts. So now from here, I can click on, let's say this coffee house design looks kind of cool. So I can click on this design and I can see it. Now, if you are one of our dealers with a dealer ID and password, you can use transferexpress.com instead of easyprints.com. And if you were to log in with your dealer ID and password, you'd actually be able to customize the design from this page. So something to keep in mind. What else do we got there, Jody?
All right. Let's see. What is the feel on the digital prints? Joey was wondering if they were breathable or if they were solid.
Good question. You know, some of it's a matter of opinion. Here's how I feel about it. There are a couple different substrates, types of CAD prints that we offer. Some of them are a little heavier than the others are. If you're going on white garments, we offer clear and crystal clear, which are both very sheer, very light. I actually love and adore our CAD Prints Clear. It's my favorite one because I forget that it's even on the shirt. It's crazy breathable, very light. The opaque, the CAD Prints opaque, is a little bit heavier, but it can go on any color garment as opposed to just white. The Express Prints is a little bit heavier. All of them have a great smooth texture. It's just the opaque and the Express Prints are a little bit heavier feeling.
And Steve wanted to know, when you're using the Quick View, how do you see more than 2 colors, as in the Prescott sample that we showed in here?
Okay. Well, there's our Achilles heel, Steve. We right now, at the current incarnation of our website, we don't have a way to do more than 2 colors just yet. But here is the big secret, and I'm just going to give you just a quick preview here. If you keep an eye on TransferExpress.com in the next couple months, maybe, let's call it 3, 4, 5 months, you're going to see a version of Easy View come out that is going to blow your socks off with how much colors and stuff you can do with it. We're not there yet, though. Right now, 2 colors is the most you can do on our website, but we're working on it.
Okay, great. And, DeAndre would like to know what was used on the tablecloth, what material that was.
The Jack Era tablecloth. The Jack Era tablecloth, that was actually done by one of the supervisors of customer service, I think, and it's actually just goof-proof white. Just goof-proof, the screen printed transfer called goof-proof, and just plain goof-proof white ink, believe it or not. And that was actually a super easy one to do because I know it's sort of a distance photograph there. You can't see it very well, but it's very rectangular. The design is very rectangular, so it's very short but very wide. So we were able to fit, I think it was 3 on a sheet. So it actually took just a minimum order to do that tablecloth. And keep in mind those Jack Eras, they actually go all the way around. So we did the whole tablecloth.
And Kathy, I can actually answer this one for Kathy. She wanted to know what the best vinyl to use for athletic jerseys and numbers. And if you have Kathy, if it's a polyester or cotton or polycotton blend, I would say the absolute best material to use is thermofilm. You won't get a lot of bleed through you won't get any actually with your reds and your navies. It is absolutely 100% the best material on the market for athletic jerseys to last over time. When you get into nylon jerseys, you have to kind of be a little bit more creative as far as using vinyl. Superfilm is always a good option. Gorilla Grip 2 from Stahl's ID Direct is always a good option, but you want to make sure that you are using a vinyl that is specially made for nylon. And Chris was wondering if you had a CD available with any artwork that he can use to place pictures on their websites.
You know what? That is something that we don't offer at this point, Chris. It would be, think of that as a down-the-road option maybe, but right now we actually don't sell the artwork. The artwork is only available through the idea book, through ordering, transfers, screen print, digital, etc. So no, we don't really offer that at this point. But we do have a sister company that does offer that service. Great Dane Graphics, Dane Clement from Great Dane Graphics, they have artwork upon artwork, just zoods of it, that actually for that purpose, or for several purposes, I guess, but definitely an option to go with. We, however, are not at that point yet, no.
And of course, with EasyView or EasyPrints.com, you don't really need that, right? Because you could send your customers right to that website.
Exactly. If that's what you're looking for, I mean, if that was the purpose of it, then EasyPrints.com is the way to go with that anyway. A lot of our customers actually take it a step further. They'll make out their business cards, and on their business cards, they'll actually state their website as EasyPrints.com.
Right.
It's made for that purpose, so.
And Kimberly was wondering again if there was a difference in the washing and care for the screen printed transfers and the inkjet.
You know what? I can't speak to the inkjet quite as well as I can speak to the screen print, but as a rule of thumb, most of the time with these products, there's no written in stone washing directions. There's sort of the blanket that you can go with any embellished garment, which is if you dry it on low, inside out, it lasts longer. I know the screen print certainly works that way. If you turn it inside out, if you dry it on low, it lasts longer. You shouldn't have to worry that much about special care instructions, though. The screen print is very durable. If you blast it in the dryer every day for weeks upon weeks, yes, it's eventually going to crack. That's the nature of the beast. But again, if you keep it to a low dry, turn it inside out, that certainly helps. Jody, I know you guys know a little bit more about the inkjet stuff.
I do, and typically a rule of thumb for the inkjet is, they're really made for, I don't want to say like one usage, but they're not made to sort of the way the screen printed transfers or even vinyl to last over time. So if you have a family reunion, a birthday party, any type of sort of these events where somebody's going to receive something and not continue to wear it over and over, then the inkjet, and also like pillowcases or things that aren't going to be washed a lot, inkjet transfers are great. But so definitely if you have something that you need to last over time, if it's like a work uniform or something like that, you definitely want to go with either a screen printed or a vinyl in order to have, so you're not getting things back from your customer. So that is definitely one, when you're thinking about going between inkjet and screen print, how are they going to use it? What do they need to use it for? And that can help you decide what's the best option for you.
Definitely. Well said.
Okay, and so we'll take one there's actually just a couple. We do have a couple minutes. Do you have any ideas about pricing percentage for markup for promotional items? I know we don't typically, it's hard, because people are in different regions, different areas. Pricing is different everywhere.
Yeah. Pricing is a tough animal to try and
control. It is.
Because it totally depends on what your market's like. Keep in mind too. I mean, I don't know what everyone's competition situation is either, for that matter. But the rule of thumb when you're purchasing a transfer, the rule of thumb that we always use when you're doing markup is whatever you paid for our transfer, you can double that in terms of what you charge in terms of a retail cost. Now, if you're doing promotional stuff for somebody, keep in mind that the rule of thumb is something that you can totally break. That rule of thumb, doubling the cost, that's just a starting point. If you're trying to get your foot in the door somewhere, if somebody has come to you for the first time for promotional items and it's your chance to get your foot in the door, maybe you do give them a little bit of a break in that effort of trying to get them in. So maybe you don't go double in this case. Maybe instead of doubling it, you go 75%, 70% something. I mean, that's your call to make, but it's just something to keep in mind. But as a rule of thumb, when mom and pop come to us for the first time, they're brand new to this industry, our transfers, we tell you that you can double the cost.
Great. And Rudley was wondering about, you had mentioned the CAD print clear, and he was wondering about that, between that and the difference to like direct-to-garment, or if it's close to direct-to-garment, which I would say it's quite close as far as hand and color.
You know what? Yeah, direct-to-garment is not something that I know as well as I know the transfers and the vinyl, or not vinyl, I'm sorry, the CAD print products. So I can't speak that intelligently about the direct-to-garment, but for the most part, yeah, we're talking a lot of the same texture, a lot of the same hand. The CAD print clear is fantastic. I mean, the only downfall, again, is that it only goes on white. Aside from that, it's stretchable, it's breathable, it's very thin. Again, it's my favorite of the CAD print products personally, because
Me too.
I hate a CAD print that feels like I'm wearing a plate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've all done that at some point in time, where you do the massive print on the shirt, and it's a really cool looking design, you're all jazzed about it, you put it on and discover, oh my god, I'm bulletproof now. So I like the clear for that reason. So I definitely find it to be my favorite. So.
Great. And then, Ella would like to know, what do you suggest for orders that have youth and adult orders in them? For example, if she has an order of 100 shirts, and she doesn't want to order adult and youth sizes?
Yeah, you know what? We actually, the local civic center just sort of had that conundrum. Here's the way to look at it. If you really have to go youth sizes and adult sizes, you're going to cost yourself a lot of extra cash, because you have to place one order for adult, one order for youth. It gets pricey, frankly. The most intelligent thing you can do is to try and find one size that you can put on both types of garments. Okay, and it's all going to depend on the size range that your customer is offering. For example, if we're talking they're offering nothing larger than XL, and and nothing smaller than a youth medium, just for sheer example, a 10.5-inch transfer fits on all of those sizes just fine. So you find yourself in a better position where you don't have to do 2 separate orders. You can do 1 order with a much better price break. So that's certainly the better option to go. And if you really have to do 2 separate orders, 1 for youth, 1 for adult, it's totally possible, totally fine. Just make sure to build in that extra price because you're going to have 2 separate orders, 2 separate price breaks.
Great. Well, we do have a couple more questions, but I think we'll have to answer those just via email or include them in the post webinar since it's time to wrap up.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, everybody, for being out here today. Thank you for attending. Make sure to join me next month, June 13th, for summer sales. Before that, however, the next Great Garment Graphics webinar is going to be by Stahls ID Direct. It's going to be May 16th, and it's going to be what are pre-cuts and how can they help my business. So make sure to tune in, and thank you again, everybody. Thank you, Jody, for having me here today.
Hey, Andy, are you going to be at the NBM Indianapolis show? I know Transfer Express is going to be there.
You know what? I'm not actually. I'm not going to be at NBM. I'm not sure who is going to be there, but definitely come out and see us.
Yes, DeAndre said he's going to be there, and so definitely stop by the Transfer Express booth. DeAndre, tell him you heard Andy in a webinar, and they will be sure to help you out.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us today, Andy. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email info@greatgarmentgraphics or sign up for our blog at www.greatgarmentgraphics.com. And you can also view archived webinars there as well. So thank you so much and have a great day.
Have a good one, Jody.